Many people see photography as the art of capturing a single moment or memory, and I completely agree with that notion. But for me, my photography is more about preserving visual feelings. Many times when I've returned home from a shoot, I write down key things that I felt during the day. Simple things, like I felt cold, alone, fearful, and so on. And I use these key emotions to unlock my edit. Today I want to talk to you about the way I go about my editing. Now, a lot of people always wonder, what presets do you use, what settings do you use, and I don't go about a picture like that. When I look at my image, I always think about what I was doing or what I was feeling at the moment when I took the actual photograph. What I like to do is just write down in the notes of my mobile phone the key emotions I was feeling when I was taking the photos. I don't like the idea of people always showing details of how they reduce the highlights or how they increase the shadows and what specific numbers you should follow to get the same recipe as what the other photographer's using. Instead, I want you to focus on creating an emotion and getting your images that way. And yes, I do have some preferences. My favorite color is green, so my eyes tend to edit towards the color green being the most dominant in the scene. So what I want to show you now is just a quick screen recording of how I go about editing my images. And instead of showing all the dials and everything, I'm just going to show you the image and I'm going to talk over the top on the emotions I was trying to convey and the key emotions that I wrote down on the day that I recorded the images. And we're going to edit via emotion and feeling rather than teaching you guys how to make my preset. And hopefully by the end of it, you guys can edit the same way. Just sit down, focus on what you're feeling at the time, edit towards that, and I guarantee you'll have an amazing image at the end of it. So here's my image taken in Snowdonia National Park. The key notes I've written down for this shoot are cold, moody, and rugged. Now let's start with the first key word, cold. I'm going to cool the image to express the cold, harsh winds I was feeling on the day. And I can do that by simply bringing my temperature gauge just down a little bit. The next keyword is moody, and it was very moody in the sky and the ground surrounding me. It had just finished hailing, raining, and snowing briefly while I was taking this image. So I want to try and convey that by adding a bit more mood, and there's no better way to add mood than to darken certain parts of an area. Also, the sky wasn't this typical gray that we see in the image, it was a bit more bluey green, so I'm just going to put a gradient filter on the sky and just add a little tint using the temperature bars. And the final keyword was rugged. And for me, rugged is a tough exterior. And I think what I was referring to here is the rocks that cover the mountains in the distance, and also some of the rocks here that cover the foreground. Now, to add a bit of ruggedness here, all I need to do is get a paint brush and add some clarity to those rocks. And that'll really make the rugged, rough look stand out. And that's it. Let's do the before and after. So let's start focusing on editing with emotions in mind rather than presets. I hope this inspires you guys to think a little bit differently.